Hey guys, welcome back to the YouTube and welcome back to the channel. And today we are in northern Cornwall. And some of you eagle-eyed viewers might recognise some of the landmarks and the landscape behind me. That's right, of course, we are in Padstow on the North Cornish coast. But why are we here? We're here to talk about Padstow and Rick Stein. Now, it's really common when people talk to me about Padstow, they go on and on about Rick Stein, and some people get quite annoyed and say, Padstow is just about Rick Stein. So really, we're here today to answer the question, is there more to Padstow than just Rick Stein? Now, personally, I think there is, and whenever I'm in northern Cornwall, I always pop into this little town to walk around the harbour, go to some of the amazing shops, and also get some great food from some of the amazing eateries here in Padstow. Let's jump into the video, grab yourself a cup of coffee or a cup of tea, and let's talk about, is there more to Padstow than just Rick Stein? Let's get into it, guys. Nice car, Rick. Now, I appreciate we're taking a bit of a whistle-stop Rick Stein tour here, but if we can get that out of the way, then we can move on to all things Padstow. I do, however, have one more little story to tell you first before we get to the next part of the video. And whilst we're getting there, fun fact, Rick actually spends most of his time in Australia now with his second wife. Now, it wouldn't be right or fair to make a video about Padstow and Rick Stein without giving you somewhat of a history about how it all started, and that's why I'm here outside the seafood restaurant, which was Rick's first venture in Padstow. But it didn't start out as a restaurant. It actually started as a nightclub, and that was Rick's first venture in Padstow. And rumour has it, it was so rough in the nightclub and bar that the council actually took away the alcohol and the liquor licence from Rick. So left in somewhat of a dilemma, Rick actually decided to turn it into a restaurant, and that's how it became the seafood restaurant. Fast forward on a few more years from that, and Keith Floyd, who needs absolutely no introduction, discovered Rick Stein in the seafood restaurant. And of course, the restaurant was serving local Cornish fish from around the Padstow area, which is another thing that Padstow is famous for, amazing fresh fish. And Keith filmed a few episodes of his show with Rick, and Rick became somewhat of a standout hit. And from that point onwards, it didn't take Rick long to be picked up by the mainstream TV networks. And so he started filming his own TV shows, writing his books, and opening other restaurants around the Padstow and Cornwall area. And that's really how it all started and how Rick originally came to Padstow. You could say, because of this and because of what Rick's done and the books that he writes and the TV shows that he's produced and been on, a lot of people come to Padstow primarily for that reason, to see the home of Rick Stein, the seafood restaurant, and discover all things Rick Stein. And that does two things. A, it brings people into Padstow and the local area, but it's also allowed a lot of other really creative and innovative chefs to come and open restaurants here, because the footfall is here, the tourists are here, and it's somewhat of a foodie destination. So it is true to say that Rick has put Padstow on the map, but there's a lot of other reasons why you should come here. So I promise that's it now. Let's not mention the R word again. So as I said, Padstow is situated on the rugged North Cornish coast and is a working, bustling little fishing port. The local fishermen supply the many fish restaurants which have recently become a major feature of the town. Today, Padstow's harbour is also filled with pleasure boats of all descriptions. There is a regular ferry across the river to Rock, aka Little Chelsea, a village which has been all but taken over by the young and posh from London over recent decades, including the one and only Gordon Ramsay. Other vessels offer cruises and boat trips around the bay. Padstow, situated on the western bank of the Camel Estuary, is a captivating destination and a real North Coast favourite among visitors, with much to offer, leading to many people returning here time and time again to soak in the town's delights. It's a historic fishing port with a maze of picturesque narrow streets of stone, painted and slate cottages, and a pretty working harbour, making it the perfect base for a Cornish holiday. Plan beach days, stop by the famous eateries, and enjoy a host of wonderful activities during your break in Padstow. . Of course, no trip to Padstow is complete without a Cornish pasty, and you have to get one of those from the Chuff Bakery. The Chuff Bakery is a craft bakery in the heart of Padstow, which has been run by Elaine and Rob for the past 40 years, using only the best local Cornish produce. Which was itself in a TV show not too long ago. But watch out for the seagulls. The gulls can be particularly aggressive here, so hold on tight to your pasty or ice cream. The Chuff is more than just food, it's an experience based on generations of Cornish know-how. Clotted cream, fresh local produce and traditional methods makes a pasty like no other. The taste of Padstow in every bite. And I like to think you'll find this kind of food ethos right across Padstow. From pubs to restaurants to tea rooms and little shops set around quaint Cornish streets. There's so much amazing food here to enjoy, and don't even get me started on the fresh fish. In 2015, Prawn on the Lawn opened here with a daily changing small plates based around the local fish landed right here in Padstow. It quickly won Best UK Seafood Restaurant and has been featured in the Michelin Guide ever since it opened. I cannot tell you how good this little restaurant is, and it's absolutely well worth a visit. Now, as well as the really buzzy food scene here in Padstow, there's equally an amazing food scene just over the water there in Rock, with restaurants like the Mariners by Paul Ainsworth and Carrick, named after the Cornish name for rock. And that's well worth a visit, and you can catch a boat down here from the harbour at Padstow over to Rock most days, weather dependent. As well as the ferry to Rock, Padstow has a lot of other boat trips that you can take. These include Sea Life Safaris, the Jaws 2 speedboat ride, the Jubilee Queen cruise, Wave Hunters Cornish wildlife spotting and various fishing trips. No architect could have designed the magic of Padstow. It is just the result of years of adaptation to change, of getting the best out of local materials and then using the buildings and the surrounding environment to meet the needs of a working and friendly harbour town. The harbour is undoubtedly the strongest attraction in the town, and visitors find themselves drawn to it like a magnet. Fishing and pleasure craft rock side by side on their moorings, children fish for crabs from the harbour wall, quayside inns and cafes overlook the calm water. There are seats all around the harbour, and because there's always something going on and it's such a restful and interesting place, it's a favourite spot for both locals and visitors. Whilst you're here, please try to set aside some time to share in the heritage of Padstow. The museum may not be large, but it does contain many historic treasures and artefacts. Now, don't forget, there aren't actually any beaches in Padstow. However, there are 7 really amazing beaches close by. So let's have a little look at those and I'll talk you through them. Don't let the lack of beaches put you off, however. Beautiful golden sand and award-winning beaches are only a short drive away from Padstow. Harlyn, Constantine, Boobies Bay, Trevon, Trianon, Porthcothan and Mother Ivies to be precise. There is also the Camel Trail, set along a disused railway line between Wenford Bridge, Bodmin, Wadebridge and Padstow. The trail is suitable for walkers, cyclists, horse riders and wheelchair users, and you can even hire bikes from Padstow if you fancy cycling along this lovely route. So, is a trip to Padstow really worth it? And as I said at the top of the video, is it just about Rick Stein? Personally, I think it's not. If you're on the North Cornish coast, I'd stop in for a good few hours to check out this beautiful harbour town. There's lots to see and do here other than the Rick Stein stuff, or if you want to pop into one of his restaurants or shops, then you can, but there's other stuff you can do, and it's certainly a beautiful little Cornish town to visit. So let me leave you with some final thoughts on Padstow. It may be small, but this picture postcard warren of narrow medieval lanes sloping down to the bustling quayside should be on everyone's Cornish bucket list. What could possibly be more relaxing than spending a warm afternoon gently wandering around a colourful harbour lined with old fishermen's cottages and sea merchants' houses, watching children happily fish for crabs whilst deciding which Michelin-starred restaurant to dine in as the sun goes down. It's not all about Rick Stein here, and maybe I'll see you in Padstow soon. As always guys, thanks so much for watching, and I hope you've enjoyed this video on Padstow in northern Cornwall, and we will see you in the next one.